How do I go?
Shabbat Shalom. Let's do that again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome. How wonderful it is to be together. Let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat air. Breathe in all of the warm sunshine we have today and breathe out all that cold air. I was complaining we didn't get enough winter. And I'm sort of regretting, I was like, it just doesn't feel like Buffalo when in December and early January, we still had like some 60-degree, 50-degree weather. But we've gotten winter in spades, and I hope the scariest thing for anyone at the synagogue is our parking lot. So please, please, whatever you do, do not give any of us a heart attack. Go very careful, as Marina always teaches, walk like a penguin, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed to ask for help if you need for help. This is for people of all ages, not just for people. It's for everyone. Anyone can fall, and it's serious for everyone. So please, when I'm up at night, that's what I'm praying about. So I have a poem to get us started. Years ago, I lived in Florida, and in Florida, it was always sunny. Like in Orlando, always blue skies, always beautiful, and there would be one cloud on the sky, and people would complain. And I always thought it was kind of funny, being from the Northeast, that people would complain about a cloud. But so this is called the Law of Sunshine. The more you have, the less you appreciate. How it glitters over the lip of the window, illuminating the painting of lily pads on the kitchen wall. The air conditioner muffles the sound of passing geese. Somewhere in the beaches of Florida, a person lying on a towel looks out at a clear blue sky, wondering when rain will finally fall. Just a reminder that there are blessings even in the cold air. Actually, it was Howard here, I saw him this morning, and he said, it is a beautiful sunny day. So I did appreciate that. Let's bring Bruce over here to officially welcome you home.
I nabbed the new carpet.
Yeah, you're like a chameleon.
I'm color coordinated with the new look of the sanctuary. This is nice. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And how nice it is for us to be having our first Jews of all hues of 2025. I'm looking forward to some interesting conversation this evening, and I think it'll be a really fascinating service. And thank you for coming here and being here on on a cold night. It's actually pretty dry out there. It is, as the rabbi said, treacherous at times. It's slippery depending on where you are. And when you have a dog pulling you, it's funny how a little 12.5-pound dog has a lot of power when she's in her mind, and she pulls you, and you're on the ice and you're skating along and everything. So we all need to be very careful this time of the year. We also have lots of stuff coming up this time of year. This is not the only special service we have this month. We have a bunch of them, and we have a bunch of other stuff coming up in the next month and a half or so. So I'll be back later with the announcements. And in the meantime, enjoy the service. And for those of you who haven't been here in a while, we like to every once in a while just give you a quick reminder that if you need to get out in a hurry, if Rabbi's sermon goes on a little long or something. No sermon tonight, then you won't need to leave in a hurry. But if you have to get out, it's the main entrance. You go out that way. And if you go to the right, you go back into the parking lot. If you go to the left, you can go out the glass doors there and get out onto the front lawn. And we do have an exit over there, and we have an exit up here, just in case. And we have all the stuff you need out in the lobby. We have a stop the bleed kit and a defibrillator, and you name it, we have it. And I know we have a few trained medical personnel in the sanctuary this evening. So just in case, not that we expect anything to happen, but we like to be prepared. And every once in a while, when we have people that haven't been here in a while, it's always nice to just give you a quick reminder. I will shut up now and let them take over, and I'll be back later with the announcements. Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom.
Just a brief announcement about our service. We are going to do things in slightly different order, so we're after the Lachad Odi, we're going to have our chance to have our conversation. Just a heads up about that. Okay, we're going to turn to page 128. I think it's a beautiful day of Shabbat. Every Shabbat is a beautiful day, right? Ma Yafeh Hayom, the second prayer there, Shabbat Shalom. Very simple Hebrew and beautiful. And it is, please join in along.
Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Join with me. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Beautiful. We'll turn to the candle lighting on page 120, and Ronnie and John have graciously volunteered, or have been voluntold, I guess, to help out lighting our candles. Again, on page 120, it's nice to bring this traditional ritual and really warm our sanctuary with the light. And if one of you could lift up our Kiddush cup, the Kiddush is on page 123. And Ron, if you want to lead us, feel free. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'vratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila l'melech chodesh, zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'tanu kidashta, mikol Okay, nicely done, Joanne. All right, we're gonna turn to page 138 as we welcome in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. Cantor, is there any particular numbers that we're gonna do tonight?
Oh.
She's like, what am I gonna surprise them with this one?
Let me get there. Let's do 1, 2, 3, and 9.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and
Okay.
9. And on the ninth verse, we
Polish our
rise.
Hebrew skills, right?
Yeah. We rise and we face the doorway over there, and then we'll bow to Shabbat as it enters into the room, and then we welcome each other by waving.
Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha, Hishme'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Shemo tiferet v'lihila. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Likrot Shabbat nikhuvanelcha, ki mikol hameracha, berosh mikedem nezucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tekila. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech yimelucha, komitzihi itov aficha, rav lach shevet b'yemek hapacha, lo yachamol alaykem la. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Bohi v'shalom aterebala, gam v'simcha u'v'tzochla, toch emun ve'atzikula. Bohi kala, bohi kala.
Welcome one another.
Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. One more time, everyone. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kana, Pene Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. And I love it. Audrey and Ira, you were the Shabbat, you were officially representing Shabbat, so welcome. But also, I loved how you represented it with such joy. So, we during Lecha Dodi, when we're welcoming in Shabbat, we're also welcoming in each other. For some of us, we have regulars amongst us, but some it's newcomers as well, and it's really important every single time we're together, our group is different, and it's important that people feel welcomed. It's important to me, it's important to Cantor and to our community. Okay, so as I said, we're going to switch the order a bit, and so I'm going to bring up Ronnie DeBrouwen, who has been orchestrating together with Evie Weinstein, the Jews of all Hues, for the last almost 2 years now. And I'm also going to bring up Rachel Meyerowitz and Naomi Frisch in the back, if you guys could come up here. This is a very special night for me because Rachel and Naomi, I got to watch them when they were growing up, and now they're full adults, and it's wonderful to kind of hear and for them to really teach us about their journey. Tonight is a little bit different than some of the other ones that we've done, because we're not going to really learn about the Jews of Vietnam. We're going to really have an opportunity to actually hear from Naomi and Rachel, to hear their story directly. So I'm going to come sit down over here so I can watch, and I'll turn it over to you, Ronnie.
So it's exciting for me to be talking with Naomi and Rachel tonight. My Hebrew name is Rachel and my daughter is Naomi. And so I feel like I'm home. In the service pamphlet, I gave you a little bit of geography and info about Vietnam. So what is now the Socialist Republic of Vietnam was in the news daily when I was a kid. The Vietnam War, officially occurring between 1963 and the signing of the Paris Peace Accords on January 27th, 1973, is not our topic this Shabbat, but it impacts any of us who were alive at that time. And, as a weird aside, this morning, before Buffalo Philharmonic, John and I met a Viet vet. And it, I don't know, it's just still a part of my soul. But we're here to learn a little bit about Vietnam, religion, and two members of our congregation, both Vietnamese, who are also both proud Jews. Vietnam currently has a very liberal relationship, according to what I understand, with all religious traditions. There's a law there, Article 70 of the 1992 Constitution of Vietnam, in which all citizens enjoy freedom of religion. All religions are equal before the law, and each place of worship is protected. You may not be surprised to learn that Buddhists make up about 38% of the population, but there are also 7.4% Catholics, 1.1% Protestants, a whole bunch of tiny little percentages of lots of people, and there's been a huge revival of indigenous folk religions since the 1980s. Jews arrived in Vietnam during the Nguyen dynasty, during the second half of the 19th century, with French merchant and ship owner Jules Ruff, a Jew who encouraged a small but increasingly growing population of Jews to come to Vietnam and live there, numbering between 1,000 and 1,500 at its maximum. As late as 1939, there were about 1,000 Jews in French Indochina. You may know from, I don't know, high school or something, that a chunk of Vietnam was actually colonized by the French, so French Indochina. But the 1940 anti-Semitic Vichy laws on the state of the Jews began overt discrimination. These laws were repealed in 1945. In 1971, there were 12, so more than 1 million French Jews remaining in Saigon. During the Vietnam War, about 30,000 Jews served there. In 2005, the US State Department's International Religious Freedom Report listed none anti-Semitic incidents in Vietnam. In 2006, this answers a question I asked you guys about, or I talked to you about. Chabad opened its first center, because I said, there's no place on the planet that doesn't have at least one Chabad. I mean, we didn't see Chabad in Antarctica, but I'm sure they're there. Anyway, in 2006, they opened a center in Ho Chi Minh City. And in 2015, they opened a center in Hanoi. The centers are used mostly by tourists and by business people. And you may know, if you know the habits of Israelis after they get out of the IDF. They travel for about a year before they go into business or go into university. And so the East is a very, very, very common destination. So those Israelis who feel comfortable being with Chabad could also get their kosher food and whatnot there. So about 10 to 15,000 Jews visit Vietnam yearly, including many Israelis. So I'm honored to introduce Naomi Frisch and Rachel Meyerowitz. And I'm going to ask each of you, and since you're near me first, I'm going to ask you first, to just take a few minutes to talk about how you came to be sitting here. And then I might ask you a few more questions, but a little bit like what we talked about on the phone.
So I was adopted by Mike and Joe back there, and raised with them on Parkside, Buffalo. And it was confusing being a young kid in a white family and not being white. But then another added layer was that we were Jewish, so we would go to temple and I'd run around and do stuff. And then I went to Catholic school and was a Jew there. So a lot of different layers, and I did my bat mitzvah. So I was raised here in old Temple Sinai. Thank you. And that's where I kind of ran around and also did my bat mitzvah. And then Rachel and I met, and we were both coincidentally adopted from Vietnam, also Jewish. And so we started kind of venturing off to the Buddhist temple and then also Hebrew school and doing all of that together. And so I've kind of just been raised in a bunch of different sectors and of different communities. And I'm gonna say I'm not the most religious, but that being said, tradition, community is something that I found here at Temple as a kid and as an adult. And I went to Temple, what was it called? Temple No, the Jewish camp that I went to. Havaya, Camp Havaya. Yeah, and yeah, Alex was there a few times, I think. So community is a big one, and having it connected to family, even though you're not the most religious, is very important. So that's how I'm here today.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so Naomi and I also grew up together. Ruth Meyerowitz is the one that brought me here. I was told I have big shoes to fill because she was in the Purim Spiel, so sorry this is what you got. But no, she's the one that brought me here, and then Naomi and I grew up together. We both went to Hebrew school together, both her parents, and then my mom was teaching at the time, so her parents always picked us up from school, took us to Hebrew school on Tuesdays, a little mighty taco in between. And yeah, so we both went to Sinai. I also am not necessarily the most religious anymore, but my mom always kind of described it as we were culturally Jewish. And for a while, that was the culture that I identified much more with, since I wasn't, in Vietnam or around a lot of Vietnamese people that were from Vietnam and connected with their roots. But now my boyfriend is Vietnamese, and I've been back to Vietnam a few times, so I'm connecting with that a little bit more. But for a while, the Jewish culture is really kind of what I identified more with.
I don't know if you guys know about this. I found it after we spoke, but there's at least one more woman from Vietnam who's also Jewish, and she wrote a wonderful article. It's called Hues-Vietnamese, and I have one copy, or I can just send them to you. Or if you Google Hues-Vietnamese, if we're still allowed to Google, there's a question even about Google now. Take a look at this article. It's this woman's experience, her path. So, as is true with so many Jews in 2025, we each choose Judaism in whatever capacity, in whatever amount of religiosity, as much as it's chosen us. What is it that keeps you guys identified with Judaism. What are the cultural aspects or that family aspect that you both alluded to, or that comfort aspect?
Yeah, kind of like what I said before. Growing up, it was very nice to have communities to go to that I felt even if I was different in whatever aspects, I was fully accepted in there. Again, so familial, and then going to Temple Sinai as a kid, running around. I didn't really feel like much difference. I was just there having a good time and eating the snacks and having fun. So I didn't feel that different. It wasn't really pointed out to me in that space as much as it was in other community spaces at school, just walking around with my family. It was much more freeing to be a kid in that space. And then growing up, again, going to Camp Havaya was great. There wasn't many people of color there, but there was like me and then maybe like 2 other people. But again, it wasn't something that was really like obvious at the time, because we were all kind of just coming from all over the United States and Israel, so we all kind of connected in not knowing each other at all, and in that way. And now growing up, it's fun for me to do, I come to high holidays with my parents, and we're big on tradition. So the Purim spiel, again, my dad did that as well. So that's a family favorite. Doing things over Zoom with my sister and her husband in Boston. We do the high holidays together. So, and even if I'm away, we'll find a way to do it on the phone. So it's fun to just get all together and do that. And it's nice to have a community, even if I'm not as religiously involved. It's still very nice to be connected that way. So.
I think. Oh, is it on? Okay. I think it was just mostly that it was a very constant thing, especially growing up. I think, if not kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade to 7th grade, while we were learning everything for our bat mitzvah, it's hard to not pay attention to it when every Tuesday after school and Sundays you go to Hebrew school, and then Saturday, either Friday night or Saturday morning, you're going to service. So it just was present, and then when it wasn't as present after we had our bat mitzvahs, it was mostly a reminder that I was Jewish when I was in spaces where people were not, and I wouldn't know questions about different holiday, like the Christian and the Catholic holidays, and everyone would say, like, how do you not know that? Like, this, I feel like everyone knows that. And I'm like, oh no, like I grew up Jewish, so I don't know this. And so also when I show up places, my name is very Jewish, and I think most Western people's idea of what Jewish people look like, I don't look like, so I confuse a lot of people when I show up to places. So just small reminders like that, which are not necessarily a bad thing, but and I've learned to think are a bit funny, but I think just that has been the constant presence, just small reminders that come up in every day. And I just started a new job, and my coworker actually grew up at Temple Betham while we were at Sinai, so that was funny. So now I'm back in the space, so it just comes up in funny ways that way.
Hang on a sec, have you ever felt though that conflict that you just kind of mentioned, where people are kind of surprised because they have a vision in their brain of what a Jew looks like? Has that ever been a difficult conflict for you?
I don't know. I think the Jewish thing doesn't come up as much because it's not like the outward appearance. Because I've also been the only Vietnamese person in a lot of spaces as well, so typically that comes up before like being the only Jewish person someone's met has come. So I'm kind of used to it. I mean, there's probably things that are not necessarily the most fun conversations to have with people, but I kind of just assume ignorance rather than malintent. So
Yeah,
I just learn to go with it.
what do you think that you each share about? You've broken the microphone. Here, I have one.
The microphone's conspiring against me.
Has pins in it, so you gotta line it up.
What do you think you share with everyone who was brought into Judaism not through genetics, but through, because all of us who are actually brought in through genetics also share so much with you, because again, we all choose to participate or not, to identify or not. What do you think you might share with other folks, if anything, maybe not? I don't know. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I guess
I actually
we'll,
have not thought about
we'll
that.
keep
so.
exploring.
Good. I'll answer that later. Yeah. I'll get back to you.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Sure. It doesn't matter.
We've never done that before.
Do you have a really good question?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just wondered, you both look very different, and I know you're from the same country. Do you have different regions of the country in which you were born, a different heritage, within Vietnam country in which, you know, your descendants come from?
So I was.
And they do have maps, so
yes,
you can
they do have
actually
maps.
even.
There is a map on the
That's
thing.
part of why I did that when I spoke to you guys, by the way.
So I was born in Da Nang, which is south-ish. So if you go and you travel around, you can see very distinct differences in everybody's faces and skin complexion there than in the north per se. So I was central south Da Nang.
And I'm from like very northern Vietnam, so like most people's reference for northern Vietnam is Hanoi, but I'm like 6 hours north of that, which is like essentially the border of China and Vietnam. So the ethnic minority or like the folk religions that Ronnie spoke about, I'm also not like the majority ethnic group in Vietnam either. I'm also an ethnic minority in Vietnam, like in the mountainous area. So I don't look like most Viet people that are in Buffalo. And when I go to Vietnam, people are pretty good at spotting that as well. So.
Central south, yeah. So I look most like, if you like Google somebody from Vietnam, I look the most like that, like them. So, yep.
Well, I want to thank you guys especially. It's been a joy getting to know each of you. And I absolutely want to thank our clergy and Michael Berger for funding this amazing program, and Todd Sugarman for supporting it. I can't wait to see what Zach has mixed up for us for our oneg tonight. It should be amazing. That's Zach Rosenblum, who caters our times.
But Ronnie, if it's okay, I have one, because I know a little bit about their story. I forgot to mention
Oh,
it.
please.
Each of them also has had a chance to go and explore their roots, and I think meet your family, not your family,
Just
not
my
your
family,
family. What was it like, because you were a young person, both of you were pretty young when you went back.
So I went back earlier in my life. 9 was my mom's, I'm blind, but she's nodding her at 9. And then 12, yes. And then 14. And then 15, 16. Okay, okay.
She said yes.
Okay, minimal head shakes, I cannot see mother. So the first time I went, it was very interesting. I was terrified. But again, it's very weird, again, being the minority here and then traveling to a space where I step out and I am the majority and my family is the minority was a very weird thing to feel, because I was like, oh, I could just run out and nobody would notice. Like, I could just get lost in the sea. I don't speak the language. Mike and Ruth did try that as we were young, but we gave up.
So
So
valiant effort.
yeah, it was good. But we don't speak, so we would stick out in some ways, but mostly in the outward ways, I could have just run out and nobody would notice. And people would ask them to touch their hair and like ask them where they were from, and I was like, this is fantastic. I feel great, invincible. So that was the first time, and then the next few times I was older and kind of able to process a little bit more, and I met my family. The first time we met at a restaurant, again, I was with my whole family, mom, dad, and sister, Mimi, who I don't know if some of you have met, but very odd to kind of, it's like a TV show where like the two TV shows collide, like a crossover episode of like my family from America, who is my family. I don't really identify them as like my adoptive family, they're just my family. And then my family in Vietnam, who's my birth family, and that's how I identify them as. But it was very odd to kind of see who I was born from and could have been raised with. So I have 3 siblings. I have, Mimi's 29, I think so. One of them's 29. I have a twin, and then I have a younger one. And if I'm 26, then she's 24. She's 24.
Oh my gosh.
All girls.
All girls. So we're all girls. So it's very odd to see like what life I could have led. Much grateful and thankfulness that I am in this life with my parents and my sister to have the privileges and the education and everything that they don't have over there. So very, very good to learn as a young child. It was hard to grapple with for a bit, but the more time I've gone back and spent time in that community and culture with my family, and then coming back here to my life here is one of the greatest experiences I've had. So.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I've also been to Vietnam, but I have not met my family. Naomi you went on the program when you were like 16, right?
Yeah, 16, 17, the Erev with her.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
We both did the same program a year apart. She did it first, and I copied her, and then I went. And that was the year before I went to college, I think like 2016 or somewhere of like 2016, 2017. And that was just with a bunch of different student age, like high school age kids. And then I just went back, I think this time last year, actually, I was in Vietnam. My boyfriend is also Vietnamese, and all of his dad's side of the family is in Vietnam, so we went for a month last year, and they are the ethnic majority in Vietnam, so even with them, it kind of stuck out, but I also blended in, which was a very interesting experience. Like Naomi said, like I could just kind of walk around and like people would not bother me. Like they didn't see me as a tourist, so like they wouldn't try to like talk to me or like do anything. If anything, when they did try to talk to me, they just kind of thought I was rude because like I didn't understand that they were talking to me. And my boyfriend would be like, they keep talking to you and you keep walking away, and I didn't know. So that was an interesting experience, like Naomi said, to know that you blend in, but also you don't. And it kind of does feel like kind of safe, but also kind of scary because like I could get lost and no one would really think anything of it. But also it's very apparent that when we were there, we were Americans. So even when you don't think you stick out, you know. But it was cool.
My wife and I went to Vietnam some years ago, and one of the things I was most concerned about was how would they react to Americans. Here we had been, of course, I was at the age when, the war was going on, would have been drafted, but having flunked the physical is probably the only reason I'm here today. But we thought maybe we wouldn't be accepted, but it turned out they were very accepting wherever we went across Vietnam, and I was wondering if you had the same thing, or if you found any anti-Americanism, because we just didn't experience that at all.
So I'm just going to repeat on our microphone. The question was, as you mentioned a lot of identities. Your American identity, what was it like being an American in Vietnam?
Fine. It was great. Yeah, I felt fine.
Can't complain.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, great. Yeah. I didn't feel again, I blended in more than my parents, so maybe they had a different experience, but she's shaking her head no. It sounds like they also had a great experience. We were also, again, the first few trips that we went on, we were around people who spoke Vietnamese, who knew the culture in and out, who had lived there, who has family there, so we were kind of in a safe bubble, and so that kind of gave me the confidence, again, to go back without all of that. But I'd bring my friends and other family there to Kiki, so I think it'd be fine. Yeah, felt great.
Well, I think, sorry for, Ronnie, did you want to close that? Sorry.
I just want to thank Evie for being the best co-chair anybody could have. And I believe next month is Sweden?
Yes, we have
So,
Gunilla Kester, right?
and Jamel's going to speak with us. And so that will be on March 7th. And so don't miss it. And maybe it won't be quite so cold and snowy. One never knows. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, Rachel has to go. She's acting as a doula soon. Oh, she has a little time, okay. Anyways, we're very appreciative, and if they have a chance to answer questions afterwards, thank you. It's a very brave young person to come up here and, bare their soul to us. And thank you, Ronnie, for excellent questions as well. All right, we have a special song, I think, for
Sure.
them, which is very familiar to a lot of our members, too.
Yes, we can go to page 180. It's involving some words. I would say shalom on page 180. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. Sing with me. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Bring the heavens down to the earth. See God's beauty and love each and every day. Hold both darkness and light with a gentle heart, and sing with joy, and let us all proclaim, oh, say shalom, b'mroma, uyase shalom, aleinu, ve'alkol, Yisrael, uyase shalom. No, not just for some, but for us, for everyone.
Invite you to rise for our call of community, page 146. Look at our wonderful community gathered here tonight and also streaming online. We're blessed to have you together. It makes the world for us to be together. Again, page 146.
La 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 la.
Baruch Adonai,
Sing with us. La 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 la
Let's continue with the Shema on page 152, 153.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shenkevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shenkevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. Let's continue in English on 155. We'll read together in the English. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them on the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. Adonai. Let's continue now on page 161, and let's read together again in the English for the Hashkivenu. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael.
Ve'al Yerushalayim.
I invite you to rise again. Sorry, we just sat down, but please rise again for the Amidah, the standing prayer from 164 through 180. Take time for your own private thoughts and prayers, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. Having traveled to the Far East, one of the things you notice is a lot of poverty. And I just wanted to, there's a poem when I was traveling out there after rabbinical school, and you could see the very young children when they're trying to kind of make a living for their family. This poem was written, there was a fellow traveler that was trying to buy every single bracelet that these little kids would sell. And this is called Ziploc bags. She has many bags. Her son taught her to pack for traveling. Ziploc bags for every item, extras in case. This bag is for bracelets. She has too many to carry back on the plane, each one from a different Cambodian girl. Another heartbreaking story, having to make a living at 10 years old. When she gets back to Canada, she will wear a few of them, like her son before her, thinking as she fingers their colored braids of the faces of the girls, big smiles, big eyes, full of laughter, too small for their age, yet somehow already grown. I think today we got a little window into a different place, and we don't have to travel so far just to hear stories, really. We're going to continue with our healing prayer on page 371. I've been wearing, for these occasions, my father-in-law's tie, who just had triple bypass. He's back home and doing a lot better, but we send some prayers as well. So I'm going to read our list of names, and if you have other names, feel free to say them out loud. We are thinking of, as a community, Jeff Balsam, Seth Bruckheimer, Lily Bank, Hope Bongiorno, David Cohen, Evan Dennis, Gloria Fine, Denise and Jared Gilden, Stephen Glick, Carolyn and Ernie Grosser, Charlotte Hammond, Suzanne L. Harris, Dave Imowitz, Kenny Jackson, Barbara Kane, Alex Katz, Ken Kellick, Marilyn Kerman, Tony Rinsberg and baby Maddie, Larry Kerman, Remy Levine, Miles Levy, Gail Lewis, Shelby Matson, Howard Lewis Myers, Jeff Pratt, Angela Robillard, Cheryl Rossi, Cindy Rotello, Paul Roy, Sarah Coyne Rothschild, Brandon Ryan, Deb Serino, Stephanie Shapiro, Carol Silverman, Lorenzo Stewart, Jerry Stobel, Andrew Sutherland, Susan Tobe, Enjo Tufts, Jen Ursaner, Renata and Wolfgang Toll, Marla Vagarosi, Isaac Weinstein, Mary Weiss, Mike Wheeler, Lauren Zafel, Carla Bachana, Yosef Ben Zissel, Chana Ezra Ben Shul, Shmuel Ben Bulig, Yitzchak Nachman Ben Root, and Rafaela Bad Tovia. If there's other names, just raise your hand.
Heather Houston, Judy Houston, Megan Norton, Faith Dwyer. Shane Williams.
Fatimi Bajulami, Brenda Sheldon Cohen, and Dr. Batfega.
And if you want.
Mike House, Susan Payton.
Sheila Chatham. Kim O'Donnell. Mark Goodfeet, Lou Lombardi. Karen Schmidt and Bernie Butler. Sandra Jensen.
Ray Morris, Teresa Worth, and Catherine Zimmer.
Candace Ryan.
Milton, Sarah Cameron.
Jamie Williams, Mariella Bachelor. Debbie and Bruce Galacki.
Carol Schmeigler.
Anita and Jill Klinger.
Bring all those names into our hearts, those said and unsaid, and those also from our virtual gathering as well, as we say, send our prayers to them on page 371.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us
complete healing of body and soul. We'll turn to page 586. Invite you to rise if you're able for Aleinu as we open our ark and we pray for a better world.
Aleinu nishma be'adlato lako, latet gedulah liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzon, velo samanu ki b'shpachot ha'adamah, shelo sam ha'keinu kahem, v'gom avinu ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד
You may be seated. We turn to our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. As a community, we are remembering Jeremy Brian Sedaris, Carol Lieberman, Anthony Lagalbo, Lorraine Medwin, Elaine Weinstein, Elaine Zeev, all who died in the last month. On our yard site list from years past, we remember Maureen Asher, Paul A. Bongiorno, Bella Bush, Joanne L. Capone, Hilda Collin, Shirley Caviar, Fanny Suchman Cohen, Betty Davinger, Marilyn Dudek, Eric Duval, Isabel Farewell, Martha Feldman, Frederick Fink, Esther Foti, Milton Freudenheim, Edward Gerstel, Helen Glick, B. Goldberg, Lawrence E. Goldberg, Dr. Alan L. Grossberg, Saul Haber, Minnie Herman, Helen Heskins, Melvin Kaplan, Clara Rosenstein Levy, Annette Lowinger, Ellen L. Markel, Rose Markel, Barbara Joyce Mindell, Natalie Pitch, Mark Plone, Elizabeth Przaznik, Abram Pugash, Leah Reich, Diane Schlanger, Howard J. Schoenfeld, Ruth Sirota, Walter Stein, Maribel C. Salt, Rose Swadron, Jacob Swartz, Richard J. Tucker Sr., Gret Wolf Ullman, Adele Vogel, Marge Vosbush, and Paul Zimmerman. If there's other names you'd like to mention, just raise your hand if you have any. Yeah. All those whose custom it is, sorry, Canelo, did you have, whose custom it is to rise, please rise. Again, page 598. Yitkadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bialma, Divrach, Hirite, Viamlik, Malchute, Bechayachon, Viamachon, Bechayed, Chol Beit Yisrael, Bagalav, Izman, Kariv, Yimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbam Barach Leolam Olmei Olmaya. Yitbarak Vishtabak Vitpa'ar Vitramam Vitnase Vitadar Vitalev Vitalal Shmei de Kudusha Berichu. Leila Min Kol Berchata Vashirata Tush Berchata Venechamata Damiran Bialma Vimaru Amen. Yehi Shlamar Abamin Shemaya B'chaim Alin Avil Kol Yisrael Vimra Amen. O says Shalom Bimramav, Huya says Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Kol Yoshvei Tevel Bimramein. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, we say Amen. You may be seated. Zikronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Just a word, I usually add all Kol Yoshvei Tevel, which just expands it to all the world, and a lot of newer prayer books have that in that as well. We're going to invite Bruce up here to offer our announcements. I can't see you, you're blended
I
in.
know, I blend right in. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone.
Shabbat
Hope you enjoyed tonight's Erev Shabbat service, Jews of all Hues-Vietnam. Special thank you to Michael Berger for sponsoring the Shabbat series, Evie Weinstein and Ronnie DeBrown, the co-chairs of our Adult Education Committee, and tonight's guest speakers, Naomi Frisch and Rachel Meyerowitz. Really interesting stuff this evening. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Evie and Barry, for being our service greeters. Evie doing double duty tonight. Appreciate that. Thank you, of course, Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Ken Kaufman, for a wonderful service, the part of it that they did do in honor of Shabbat. Okay. Had a little Dionne Warwick mixed in with Vietnam tonight. It was kind of 60s, 70s, all sorts of stuff.
Actually, I've been listening to the Dusty Springfield version of that lately. It's very
Oh.
quite beautiful.
Very cool. Tomorrow morning, Torah study, which is at 9 a.m. That's at Temple Beth Tzedek, also via their Zoom. The Shabbat morning service and Kiddush luncheon is at 10:45 at Temple Beth Tzedek. Tomorrow night, we are having a families Havdalah and game night. That is at 5:30 p.m. Pizza will be served. Chance for young families from our congregation to get together with other young families from our congregation and hang out with their temple. It doesn't have to be a young family, by the way. It can be an older family, too. Anyway, and hang out with temple friends tomorrow night. That should be a lot of fun. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, just so we have enough pizza, just let Joanne know, please. Sunday morning, Community Religious School. That's at 9 a.m., along with the CRS Junior Choir at 11:30, and then a Purim Spiel rehearsal at 11:45. It will be hopping here on Sunday morning. Next Friday night, one of our more special services to look forward to, that will be Shabbat Shalom, Mr. Dylan, in honor of the wonderful new Dylan film, A Complete Unknown. We are bringing back our really wonderful Dylan music. You've got the band, you've got the singers.
Yeah,
Mr. Dylan will not be here this time. He has sent his regrets, but he'll be watching on the stream like he always does.
So tell me, who has like not been able to fulfill like your wish to have one day been part of a whole hootenanny experience, you know? Anybody know what a hootenanny is? Everybody gets together. That's something I always wanted to like experience. Well, this is going to be like this. There's going to be a lot of singing for everybody.
Perfect. A hootenanny, which is
Hootenanny.
kind of a hoot and a half. Kind of nice. We are also going to be having a neat little onig to follow with wine, cheese, and dessert, sponsored by the Cantor, because we are also going to be celebrating the Cantor's birthday next Friday night, along with our temple president, Todd Sugarman. Is he coming up for this, or is he staying down where it's warm?
I don't know.
Are you coming up for this, or are you staying where it's warm? I don't know. Either, if he's not here, he'll be here in spirit. But either way, we will wish the Cantor, at least, happy birthday in person.
If I didn't lose my phone, like somewhere
Well,
between here and the office, he'd probably be texting
Oh, he's
me
probably
now.
texting me now, but my phone's in the jacket
Let's see,
pocket.
Joanne, let's see if he texts you.
Um,
We're talking
here's-
about Todd, of course.
The theater, we have the theater portion of the announcements, and I apologize, there's a lot tonight, but Julia insisted that I keep all of her stuff in, so I'm going to talk very fast. She said she'd hit me if I didn't. So we are offering, this is kind of cool, a limited number of deeply discounted tickets to see Israeli comedian Modi Rosenfeld at Buffalo State Performing Arts Center. That's on Thursday, March 27th. You need to get your ticket orders in. Where's Nancy? Nancy McGorry is with us this evening. Hi, Nance. She's handling all of this, so ticket orders must be received by her by February 18th. And if you have other questions, I believe the women of Shir Shalom are making some other seats available, so talk to Julia about that. He's an Israeli comedian. He is very, very funny. I've heard him described as the Israeli Rob Lederman, not as dirty, but just as funny. So that is on Thursday, March 27th. Women of Shir Shalom are going to see The Wanderers at Jewish Repertory Theater on Sunday, February 23rd. That's an afternoon show. Then they're going to dinner afterward at Andale Mexican Restaurant on Transit Road. Where's Ellen? I saw Ellen here. Ellen Caton has information if you want to order tickets at a reduced price, and you need to RSVP to Sheila Bernard Tucker for both the play and the dinner. Jackie Block is over there. Thank you, Jackie. She is honchoing our Hospice Spring Bouquet Sale. You can order online on our website or pick up an order form outside the Temple office. Standard bouquets are $14, tribute bouquets are $35, and for every tribute bouquet you purchase, a standard bouquet will be delivered by hospice to a patient. And Jackie is here if you have any questions about that. Speaking of theater, we're having, this is really cool, the Cantor has put this together, we're having a murder mystery dinner theater on Saturday, April 26th. It is performed by Western New York Improv. The evening will include an Italian buffet, wine, beer, and dessert. Tickets will be available soon. It is a murder mystery, which will be really, really cool. We are also having, on Friday, February 21st, a Young Professionals Shabbat. That will be arranged by Eliza Berger and Michael Schwartz, our two new, younger Temple board members. They put this together, so that should be a really interesting evening, and you don't have to be a young professional to be here for it, but please show up on February 21st. Purim, rapidly approaching. The Purim Spielers, as I mentioned, have a rehearsal this Sunday. Purim is Thursday, March 13th. We are doing Wicked, Defying Gravity together. If anyone has a young child who would like to be in it, we still need a few munchkins, and we could always fit more adults in as well. It is a cast of 10s, maybe 20s, so please join us for that. And that will be the night of the grand prize drawing as well for our Chai Club. Every week leading up to that, we have our weekly drawing of $18, $36, and $54. Here she is with the tickets. At least we think your tickets are in there. Mine may not be in there. Anyway, and then the grand prize, the night of the Purim Spiel, which is $180, $360, and $540. Thank you to everyone who took part in that. Speaking of fundraisers, Super Bowl squares are back. The board is not here this evening. It will be here Sunday. So if we have squares, which we don't know, the board will be here Sunday morning, and you can check that out. That benefits the community religious school. We have $10 and $20 sides for that. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Todd, who will fly up from Florida to help if you need him for anything, or myself or Joanne. Call Joanne first. Always start with Joanne. We're here for you. Please join us, of course, for the Onig Shabbat, Food of Vietnam, which is sponsored by Michael Berger and catered by Bloom and Rose. So it should be quite a really interesting Onig. I don't know how many of you have had Vietnamese food, but really tasty. And of course, I know there are 4 people right there who just had Vietnamese food in Vietnam. So you'll get to compare Zach's to what you had there. Oh, I'm breaking the place. Shabbat Shalom.
And while I'm mixing this up, the murder mystery theme is Roaring Twenties. It's going to be speakeasy here. Just tell them, knock at the door, just tell them Rabbi sent you. They'll let you in.
I gotta blame
Don't
me.
worry. And yeah, it should be a hoot and a half. Okay.
All right, we need the drum roll, $18 pie.
Margie Courtley.
Margie Courtley wins the $18.
Cindy and Joe Rotella.
Cindy and Joe Rotella. Joe, our security officer.
And the next amount is?
$54.
Glickman, it just says.
Okay, that's
It's a-
Joe,
it's a-
who is there. Yeah, he's being all quiet with the triple
that's
sign.
great.
Thank you. Just a brief word, there was a bunch of us there today. Our refugee agencies are facing a big shortfall, and they're trying to raise $1.5 million in a month. So there is a Refugee Partnership Crisis Response Fund. If you're able to contribute to that, we'll send it out, I think, probably next week's Torah Thoughts, but just be aware they've already had to cut 15 staff people from our Jewish Family Service. And Molly Carr, who heads that, is really helping all the resettlement agencies. They've been working collaboratively. So please, if anything you can do, every little bit helps. They're trying to there's 731 individuals that recently came in that the government's no longer paying for. So we need to, what we have, it's our responsibility as Buffalonians to take care of them, and you know, we're going to step up. And I'm based on the response today, we're going to be able to achieve that, but it will require all of our help to be able to make sure these 731 people can really have the 3 months of services that they need to become Americanized here. Okay, on a better note, we are ready for Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
625.
625 it is. Maestro? Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem go, Yitzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Asai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei, Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimlok Nora, Lehu Haya, Lehu Hover, Lehu Yevetifara. Here we go. Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem go, Yitzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Asai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'hu Echad, Ve'yein Sheni, V'cham Shiloh L'chachbira, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz V'ha. Everyone! Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem go, Yitzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Asai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'hu Eli, V'chai Go'alim, V'tzochev Libi Tzara, Ve'hu Nisi, U'manosi, Menat Kosi V'yom Ekra. Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem go, Yitzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Asai Melech Shemo Nikra, Biyado Avti Ruchi, V'yeti Sham B'yayira, V'yim Ruchi, Geviyati, Adonai li v'lo ira. Last time.
Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem go, Yitzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Asai Melech Shemo Nikra. Why don't we have Rachel and Naomi and your families come up to lift our challah? Is that okay? I know who is kvelling the most. And for me to be able, no, you just have to go down there. You walk right, oh, Josh, Mike. Mike's used to going up and down with the Purim spiel there. So we lift it up, we'll say the Hamotzi together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Please return your prayer books minus the leaflet to the front of our sanctuary, and please enjoy the oneg with us. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. la 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 la